Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone.
The Corova Milk Bar sold Milk Plus Velicet, or Centamesque, or Drencrum, which is what we were drinking. This would sharpen you up and make you ready for a bit of the old ultra-violence.
Food, all right. Try the wine. A very nice little number, sir. Well, here's to it.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out the Artist Brew Podcast. I'm Wil Shippey. This is our very first episode. Pretty stoked. I've had a lot of different podcast ideas I wanted to do for a while, so I figured let's just merge them all into one show and do it that way. Primarily, my co-host and I, Andrew Bones, will be talking film for the most part, but honestly, anything art-related will probably come up on the show. We might even just, I don't know, go to New Orleans and have some fun drunken conversations and make that a podcast. It's going to be sort of a, all the different podcast ideas that have to do with art all merged into one. So, but like I said, mostly films. This first episode, we tackle A Clockwork Orange, which was a funny choice for a first one, but hey, I had a great time doing it. I had Andrew Bones pick first. He picked Clockwork Orange, so we dive into that one. There's going to be some shit jokes and fart jokes and kind of laid back sort of conversation. So, we're not going to try to be too profesh here. We're not trying to be critics or anything like that. We just like to talk about film. We like to learn about film, learn about art, and get inspired to do our own stuff. So, that's basically the gist of it for the podcast. I hope you guys dig it. So, enjoy the show. Thanks a lot, guys. And, see you later. So, you know how there's those haunted houses that kind of like go year round? Yeah. They're not at like a theme park. It's like only a haunted house.
Yeah, it's
like
just
a big ass warehouse
to scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, which was weird because the warehouses one is like, this is obviously a fucking warehouse. It's a haunted warehouse. Just come out and say it. Okay, so there's one of these places. This is true. This is a true fucking story. Okay, this dude, old man, goes in there and leans against the wall and fucking dies.
No way.
It's not necessarily, I don't know, about how shitty the haunted house was. He just goes in there and fucking dies. Okay?
Well, I would almost argue that that's how scary it was. It just killed somebody.
That's true.
Or it literally bored him to death.
So this fool dies, okay? 2 weeks go by and no one notices because he looks like a fucking prop.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Okay? So check it out.
The smell kicked in, probably.
That's the thing. That's why I was like 2 fucking weeks. Like, wouldn't within hours.
This corpse is so realistic. Oh, the smell.
It's fucking horrible.
Corpses smell like.
God, not only does this fucking visually scary, but it stinks like shit. It's fucking horrible. So this lady goes in there, and two of her kids notice this, and of course they both fucking throw up, which is great.
Well, yeah, it's the natural reaction.
So this lady tells her kids, just go by it, just ignore it, whatever, just like get around it, that kind of thing. Because this kid was like, Mom, there's like this dead body like upstairs. Like, okay, honey, I know it's a scary haunted house. Okay,
no, but for real, it's like the
until this kid knocks his arm off on accident.
Oh, that's probably not traumatizing.
No, not at all. And then the daughter, like rubs up against him and gets like this goo substance on her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dead man goo. Not my top 5 favorite goos. What are the chances of that? That's a perfect storm right there.
And I guess blood and shit got all over the daughter's hair.
Oh.
And it's fantastic.
Well,
I mean, who do you blame for that?
I have no idea.
Is there a prop manager? Like, I don't see this dude in the inventory.
I have no idea. But I'm pretty sure their rep just got a lot higher. They had an actual dead body in their haunted house.
That's true. That sounds like something Stanley Kubrick would do in one of his movies, is put an actual dead body in there, which is what we're talking about.
Yep.
1971's A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
So, this is our first episode.
How's it going, everybody?
We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Not even a little bit.
That's fine.
Join us.
All right, first thing, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Stella Artois.
Oh, this is good. That's good. Let's do a little cheers here.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
A little brew, and then
we're going to try to switch it up, but if the podcast goes as long as I'd hope, we might run out of beers. Probably not.
Probably not. There's always a new beer.
Yeah, make Artist Brew beer.
Yeah, we'll micro brew.
Oh, yeah, one thing I wanted to say is we're not fucking critics. We don't want to be critics.
Nope.
The whole idea here is to learn about film, thought-provoking film.
You know, and then kind of try to give it a little extra thought to some of the movies you love, like we're doing. We're just two guys that love movies.
And get better at our own artistic mediums that we do by
Exactly.
learning from them. So, yeah, if you guys like our sensibilities and what we're into as far as film goes or any medium, and we get stoked about something that you haven't seen, then get stoked. But if we kind of poo-poo something, we're not all about it, don't fucking listen to us. Judge for yourself.
I mean, you know what you like. So the only way you're going to know if you like it or not is to actually give it a chance.
Right.
So, you know, just
exactly. So if you
don't
want to
be
go,
a drone.
Yeah, if you want to go see a Michael Bay movie, good luck and have fun.
No comment
Yeah, no
on
comment.
the Michael Bay.
So Stanley Kubrick is definitely one of my favorite directors, for sure.
He hasn't made a movie that I haven't liked. So,
and the whole, again, the part of the point of this is to learn more about film. And I've loved Clockwork Orange way before we had this idea to do this podcast. But in preparing for the show, I've learned so much about him and about the film and little things here and there, which is we'll get into. But that's the whole point, is to learn.
To get you thinking about the films that you like and maybe look at it in a different perspective you hadn't thought of before.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of podcasts I listen to, they do the whole thing. Spoilers. Again, we should say that.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
If you're one of the...
Do not listen to this if you haven't seen it.
I don't know that anyone's not seen A Clockwork Orange, but if you haven't seen it...
1971. I'm sorry. I don't care if I spoil anything for you at this point. It's been out for a while.
But yeah, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, stop listening to this shit and go see it.
Go see it and then come back.
Yes. So with that said, there's podcasts I listen to where they say the plot synopsis or like an overview of the movie, which doesn't make sense if you've seen it, but I sort of like it anyway. So what we wanted to do was...
We're going to jazz it up a little bit.
If you guys haven't heard of this amazing search engine spin thing called Gazoogle...
I was not privy to this until you just made my world that much better. And that's how I'm going to search for everything now.
Yeah, go to Gazoogle.com, and it's a thug search engine, and what it does is it puts a little flair to the text on any website you could imagine. So our plot synopsis will be within the eyes of Gazoogle.
For all terms and purposes, thugged out.
So Andrew Bones here will go ahead and read you the thugged out.
My main name.
Alex, the main character, be a cold-ass little charismatic sociopath delinquent whose interests include classical music, especially Beethoven, raping and whatnot. The fuck is termed ultra-violence. Dude leads a little small-ass gang of thugs whom his schmoove ass calls his droogs. The film chronicles the horrific crime spree of his little weird, wild little fricadelic ass gang, his capture and attempted rehabilitation via controversial psychedelic conditioning for reals, yo. Alex narrates most of the film in Nadsat, a gang-banging and fractured adolescent slang composed of Slavic, gangsta, and Cockney rhyming slang. The soundtrack to The Clockwork Orange features mostly old-ass noises, selections, and Moog synthesizer compositions by Wendy Carlos. The artwork of the now iconic poster of A Clockwork Orange is pimped by Philip Castle with the layout by designer Bizzle Gold.
Bizzle Gold. I'm going to change my name right fucking now.
To Bizzle Gold. I'll only call you Bizzle Gold.
My main name.
That everything is better through the eyes of Gazoogle.
Oh my god.
Everything. It is the greatest thing. You could literally waste an hour of each day just fucking Gazoogle.
After you showed it to me, I literally looked up the most random things and laughed for like an hour.
So Clockwork Orange was originally a book, and we haven't read that said book, and we're not, going to touch on that at all.
So yeah, if you're here to, criticize or get a different view of the book, sadly, neither one of us has any knowledge.
Nope. And it's when you say, why is fucking Alex's mom look like a Oompa Loompa? That's not in the book. We don't fucking know.
Yeah, but she does. But she does, and that's a good point because I thought that too. She
also looks like that Andy Warhol
You're right.
Called? Fucking Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that shit. I wonder if there's anything to that. Knowing Stanley Kubrick, there
probably is.
You know this shit was rated X?
Oh, yeah, there's some controversy when it came out, wasn't there?
Yeah, isn't it? Was it in Britain where the film was, like, cut off?
I believe
until, like, 2000?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised.
Well, there is a ceramic dick and balls in it.
And he kills somebody with the ceramic dick and balls?
But what else would you do with ceramic dick and balls?
Probably not that.
That's true.
That's like the worst way to die.
I so want that as a paperweight. That'd be fucking rad.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, England. It premiered in 1972, and then, it didn't get re-released until 2000. Which
Jesus.
is insane. When did you first see this movie?
I was like 15, and my friend just brought over this DVD, and we watched it, and my brain at the time couldn't really process all the like higher ideals of it. It was just a really fucked up movie,
right,
about a crazy ass kid who gets rehabilitated and then gets his karma. Only now, later on as an adult, I can see like the themes
on much more.
Yeah,
than that,
it's a way deeper film than that.
When I got my first place when I was 18, and I lived in Uptown Whittier,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a handful of metal stores, one of which I worked at, and you had all the punk stuff, all the metal stuff, and then a handful of like iconic film stuff. And there'd be like fucking Slayer, and then Misfits, and then A Clockwork Orange, and that was the imagery of it.
Yeah,
was like one of the first things I was exposed to. So it was already like in the back of my head. Not at that time. Music was my main artistic contribution and thought. Film was more of entertainment to me back then. But still, it was like one of those things in the back of my head. Like, I gotta fucking see this movie.
All right.
There's something to this, with the triangle with Alex, that poster.
Oh, that's iconic, man.
Yeah, the four guys in white. Of course the eyes.
Yeah.
During the treatment. That one of the most iconic things in film history, I think. Yes,
it's definitely it's out. It's been used a lot. It's been parodied a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Kubrick has a knack, or had a knack. God rest his soul. Had a knack for doing that iconic stuff. 2001 with the baby in space.
Right.
The Shining with Jack. Here's Johnny. The two girls in the hallway in The Shining.
Yeah, he could do no wrong for a while, man.
Yeah, for sure. Even Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, the mask on the pillow. Like, yeah, I mean.
And to his credit, there's got to be something of so many of the movies he's done became that iconic, or had certain pieces of them that were that iconic.
Totally. And I think that it was sort of just his sensibility as a filmmaker. Not that he was trying to do things that were iconic, but when I was watching Clockwork Orange just this last time for the show, like, I was noticing that there was a lot of imagery that if those other iconic scenes hadn't existed, they would be iconic themselves. Like a lot of things. Everything from, him jumping out the window. Like there's a lot of things. I mean, we'll get to that, but it's like the way he approached film. I mean, it was what any good director should do, is every single frame should be a painting and perfect in its own regard.
One feeds off the other.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so right off, the first third of this movie is a lot of fun, as fucked up as it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're seeing it through the eyes of Alex, and he is not the most mentally stable person. He's a sociopathic, narcissistic little fuck of a teenager.
Right, and that's good that you point that out with Through His Eyes, because I really think that the fantastical kind of deal that the movie presents, I don't think that that's all in actuality. I think that's everything through Alex's eyes. I mean, he's our humble narrator.
Yeah, I humble. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think when you see him in the beginning of the film and he's narrating to you, everything just seems so grand and like it just theatrical, almost, like you said. Everything's overplayed and over the top, and I think a lot of it's exaggerated through his eyes, because in his memories he saw it as more grand because it was his life, and he himself thought himself as pretty much the end-all be-all boss of the night.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't think it's any mistake that all that stuff starts out in a theater. You know what I mean?
Actually, it's good you point that out, because I didn't even notice that till you said that right now.
It was, I mean, It's like where you have one of the guys from the rival gang. What's his name? Billy Bob's gang?
Billy Boy.
Billy Boy. There you go. Billy Bob. Billy Bob Thornton's gang. He's like for like a good 10 seconds. He's just like looking, smiling, like chewing the gum after the chick
And he
runs
pulls
off.
out the knife.
Yeah, and it's just like that guy might have been excitable about the fact of fighting a rival gang, but through Alex's eyes, it's that much more fun.
Yeah, everything is over the top with him, and then there's the costumes and just the imagery is very kind of like slightly off and weird and kind of like this creepy vibe.
It's probably whether or not it's on purpose or not. It's sort of like a musical.
Yeah,
It's very much acted as though it was a musical.
yeah, he definitely used a lot of very grand and he was very eloquent, but I think even in instances where he didn't need to be, he just enjoyed talking that way because it fed his ego almost.
Right. And as you're watching this, how much because your initial gut feeling, at least for me, was him narrating. I felt like that was him being truthful, and a lot of his truth throughout the film is more than questionable. Do you think his narration to the audience is questionable too? Some of the things he's saying.
I think in the beginning he's being very honest because he's almost enjoying telling the story,
Right.
Because he's reveling in his memories of being a bastard and doing all these horrible things to people.
Yeah, I've never got so much joy out of horrible shit. Like, because I mean, it's a horror film. The shit they're doing in this film.
Yeah,
in the first third.
He's talking about it like it was an awesome trip to like Cancun when he's like he raped somebody. He sliced his friend's hand.
Right.
He beat the crap out of him.
Right.
He killed the lady with the ceramic penis.
Yeah. Which would be the best paperweight ever.
Oh God.
But one thing I really admire is when Kubrick was shooting the rape scene with the writer and his wife.
Right.
They did that, I think, for a week or so. But he
That's
basically
a lot of time spent on a rape.
He basically. He didn't like the way it was turning out, so he wanted to experiment because it seemed cliche, it seemed done before, and I really respect that in a director.
Right.
Because when I come up with scenes for my own stuff, being a filmmaker, I immediately come up with things in my head, and I have to stop and evaluate my own thoughts because I'm like, okay, is this something I purely just saw at some point of my life?
Right.
Because you've seen hundreds of movies growing up. Are you just regurgitating something you've seen? And if you can identify those things, I think it could make you a stronger filmmaker. And I think Kubrick does that with this in this instance.
Definitely, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think any sort of artistic outlet, you have to make sure that you're not regurgitating it, like especially with music.
Right.
Like if I'll write a piece, and I'll sit back and listen to it and make sure I'm not, I call it accidental plagiarism.
Okay.
And you have to, I've literally written a song and then listened to it for a while. I'm like, oh, this is a great song. And then 3 days later, I'll listen to it again. I'm like, this is that song. Oh my God. And you have to be careful with that in any sort of artistic endeavor.
Right. Again, it's also entertainment. So if you like it, you like it, even if it's been done before. But as an artist, I really admire someone who's trying to do strong work, but in the arena of something that they haven't seen or anyone else has seen. And I think that's, you almost feel like at some point those things will run out.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't just settle. You have to constantly be pushing your limits and seeing what you can do.
Totally. So Malcolm McDowell, when he met Gene Kelly at a party, okay, Singing in the Rain dude.
Yeah.
He was not happy, and he just turned the cheek and walked away from him.
Jeez.
And I went, fucking Kubrick, man. That's some gangster shit.
I don't know how I feel about saying that any scene involving rape was good, but I mean, like, for the sake of the message they were trying to convey, and in the style they were trying to convey, it was a pretty great scene.
Yeah, totally.
There's the singing, and then he kicks to emphasize certain notes and movements.
So the scene in the record store where he meets the two chicks?
With the two girls.
Okay. First off, there was a record of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is the film he did before this, which is fucking rad that they did. I love that. I love it when filmmakers
little Easter eggs.
Tarantino does this kind of stuff too. I love it when like our cigarette brand or our beer brand or whatever. In all my 10 films, it shows up every time.
Big Kahuna Burger.
Yeah, exactly. Well, these things exist within their universe.
Yeah, it's their own cinematic universe.
It's like, okay, Pulp Fiction's Pulp Fiction, great film. Back in the slavery days, in the world of Pulp Fiction, that's when Django took place. You know what I mean? So I really like that, how it's like they're totally different films, obviously, but I love it when there's this universe that a filmmaker creates.
It gives it a sense of continuity.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I thought that was cool that there's the 2001: A Space Odyssey record, and then I like the fact that he goes home and sleeps with those two chicks. How fucking old are these people? He's like
14, I believe.
Really? I thought
at the beginning of the movie, like 14, 15.
14. Okay, wow, damn.
I think when he's getting processed, he said 14.
Damn.
Could be 15 though.
Damn. Okay, that changes a little bit, but
because he spends a lot of years in prison when he gets locked up for killing the lady with the penis.
Right. Well,
I don't know, that part just sticks out so much to me, just as one of the worst ways you could possibly die.
Yeah, totally. I mean, don't put that on your headstone.
Yeah.
Death by ceramic
dick.
Death
by dicking.
Yeah. It was his. He splooged on her.
Oh God.
With a ceramic dick, and she died. But no, like when I first revisited the film, I was like, okay, trying to figure out, why do you like this guy who's doing horrible fucking shit? And obviously the first third you hate him, and then we're all good. But throughout the course of the film, you start to feel for him.
You empathize.
And I think that the threesome was sort of consensual. But if the age difference was pretty big, then it becomes sinister again. But it's like,
no, that was more like just showing how youth in that weird dystopian future they're trying to describe is kind of like kids don't really know right from wrong, and they kind of just do whatever, and like society almost seems to have given up on trying to show them otherwise, really.
Sure. Or like, it's just another example of how smart he is, because he is a smart character,
and he's very charismatic.
Yeah,
that's one
absolutely.
thing I'll give him. I personally at no point, well, I felt bad for him towards the end.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. Like, why do we feel bad for this fucking dick face?
Because I mean,
ceramic dick face.
Now getting into like the middle of the movie, he gets the process done. That pretty much, if you don't know, which if you don't know, that's weird that you're listening to this still. But
right. Yeah.
They do an experimental procedure where it's called they condition his brain to react. I believe it gives him like a stomach ache or like just incredible nausea and pain
right.
whenever he thinks about doing any sort of violent act.
Right.
Or any illicit or evil doings, any sinister acts, pretty much.
So was that? It's called Levitico.
I believe so.
That shit.
Yeah. Professionals.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's where we start to get into, free will and that whole conversation.
And I think that's why you feel bad for him, because, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But, I mean, when you take away that from him and you kind of force him to be, like, the stand-up ideal citizen, is he even really a person anymore? He's acting out of fear, because if the minute he starts thinking about doing something bad, he gets really sick and he pretty much paralyzed. And
it's that question of morality too. Like, are you not doing something shitty because you realize it's a shitty thing to do?
Or you're just doing it out of self-preservation.
Yeah, like you're scared of, burning in hell or whatever it is. Like, why are you really not doing what's wrong? And therefore it's, it's not a moral decision. It's just you're conditioned as such.
And I think the reason, well, I feel anyway, the reason that religion was so prevalent during that part, because he's constantly talking to the chaplain and stuff. Mm-hmm. He gets really obsessed with the Old Testament, which, on a side note, another example of how fucked up he is, he actually imagined himself beating Christ.
I know. And he didn't need any more reasons to hate this guy.
Like, I'm not a religious man by any means, but come on. But anyway, I think the reason they made it so prevalent in the film during that part is to kind of show that, that comparison of like what religion does to people sometimes.
Sure.
Where is it really true goodness of the heart when they're doing all these nice acts just to get into heaven and not for the sake of doing it because they feel good about helping other people
Right.
or not doing wrong things.
No, exactly. I mean, if somebody came over and, grabbed my turtle and threw him on the ground, like, I'm going to kill this motherfucker.
Someone's getting stomped.
But at the same time, like, I would never, I'm just one of those people, like, the death penalty, for example, I'd rather the dude just be in a cell by himself for the rest of his life. It's hard. It's like, I just don't feel like killing anybody.
It's not going to solve anything.
It does,
I mean,
is it not going to solve anything, but that doesn't make it right that you're killing somebody who, quote unquote, deserves it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I've never got people that are like, oh, he deserves to die, he deserves to die. I mean, like, if there's a personal thing at stake, like if it's personal for you, I can understand those feelings. But if you're a third party, I don't understand how those emotions or how that thought process arrives. Because, I mean, who are we to decide who lives or dies? I mean, yes, I will admit that if someone, like, say someone killed a family member or a friend, I don't want that person dead. But I'm speaking from a place of, like, emotional hurt. And obviously it's very personal because it's a loved one, so
Right.
I'm not going to be thinking rationally either.
Right. No, totally. Now, that goes back to him having the choice. Now, first, he made the choice to be a fuckface and murder and rape, and that's what brought him to prison.
Yes.
Now, he's also, I don't even know if it's a choice. It is a choice, but he wasn't really given the choice per se. He kind of just raised his hand and was like,
picked that
yeah,
up a
I want to
line.
do this experiment over here. Yeah, me. And this guy's like, okay, he's the one. What the fuck was my point? But no, like the whole idea that he has a choice and he opts to do this, experimental
Probably
treatment.
with the idea.
Now,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, it's cool. Do you think that he went through with this because he's like, oh, okay, this stupid fucking thing, whatever. I'll just get through this and then I'm free and I don't have to do another 14 years in prison.
Definitely. I'm pretty sure he wanted to bullshit his way through it.
Totally. I think that ultimately the experiment did not work, but it definitely affected him. You don't jump out of a window to act.
No, that's definitely, there's some sort of, it altered his personality, for sure.
Totally.
I don't know. I feel like it took a little. I feel like it did kind of take. I think that we might just have a different view of it. But I think it did kind of take because he also. I don't know how willing he would be to get his ass beat like that, unless of course he's just lying about it.
That's true.
Because I mean, it did seem kind of almost too perfect.
You're talking about with the old.
With the bums and the Drews.
That's true. Okay,
and then
that makes a lot of sense.
And then bumping into the writer.
Right, but I do feel like when he went back to his parents' house. And he did kind of a fake fist punch to his dad. It was almost like he still has those urges. You know what I mean? It still resides in him. But then when the other guy kind of intimidates him, he sort of he cries or whatever. So he's still kind of acting. But again, like you said, why he has no reason to act with the two cops.
Yeah, exactly.
He could be like, "You guys are fucking retarded. I act this whole thing up."
Well. I was like, oh snap! The first time I saw it, I was like. He looked up and I was like, "Oh, damn! They became cops."
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Which again, a small little commentary. I mean, just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're a good person.
No, I think anyone watching the news nowadays realize all the stuff going on with police in Middle America.
Did some of that remind you of those videos we keep seeing on Facebook where
Definitely.
cops are beating people's asses?
Definitely.
For literally.
That's actually the first thing that came into my mind when I saw that scene.
That's crazy because I mean, I wasn't alive when this movie came out. But it just seems like because of social media, because of look at that jam.
I'm sorry. I unprofessionally did not turn off my phone.
It's all good. It's the first episode. But no, just because of social media, because of cell phones and cameras and all that stuff, cops get away with a lot less. Maybe that's the wrong way to say it, but a lot of their shit is exposed.
Right, yeah.
So it probably took place just as much back then. There was just no evidence of such.
Exactly.
So I like that part of the film commenting on that if in fact that's what Kubrick was trying to do. It was very interesting to me that it fucked up Beethoven for him, even if on the side of the treatment it was inadvertent that they were playing.
They had no idea he was a fan of Beethoven.
Right. And that particular score fucked him up, just like the writer hearing Singing in the Rain fucked him up. And one thing I thought was absolutely fantastic, I can't take credit for this, I saw it on a YouTube analysis video, but him singing in the rain in the bathtub and his, slapping on the water or whatnot was pretty much in line with him kicking the writer. which is fascinating to me from Kubrick's standpoint because,
It's
again,
so subtle.
Details. And then, he's got the washcloth on his head, just like he had a mask on when he was doing that. He had the sponge covering his dick, just like the jockstrap. And then that part of the song, when he pulled down his jockstrap to rape the writer's wife, that was when the sponge moved down by his ankles in the bathtub, which is fucking Kubrick, dude.
It's so perfect and it's so subtle. Like you wouldn't know. We didn't even notice.
I didn't notice that shit.
But then once you know about it, you go back to that scene and you're like, wow. It becomes that much more powerful.
It reminded me a lot of Room 237, which I know you haven't seen. It's not, the greatest thing ever, but it's a documentary on a lot of people's commentary on The Shining and their theories. For the most part, it seems like a bunch of lunatics. But the thing I took away from that is it made me want to be a better filmmaker because there's so much detail. I mean, obviously the heart and what's going on in your story should take the forefront, but the details and things you hide around the film, whether it's directly realized by the audience or not, it's still something that helps build the world that we're trying to sell. I mean, every movie is trying to sell the world that you're watching.
Exactly.
For you to really buy into it.
And it makes that world that much more real.
Totally. Again, going back to the whole stage theory,
right.
the theater presentation, if you will, in the beginning of the film, my mind went right back to that when they did the testing on him, where the guy was a dick to him and makes him lick his shoe, and then he bows.
Yeah.
And then you get the naked chick, and then she bows. It was just like, look, yeah, I know this is all fucking crazy. Let's take a bow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was staged just like he's staging his so-called, treatment.
Rehabilitation.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Staged.
Nice.
Okay, that was horrible. Sorry.
But yeah, one thing I did notice is you have this, like, everything's so grand and over the top and theatrical before he gets arrested. And then even while he's in prison a little bit, the minute he gets the treatment, the style kind of changes. Everyone, like, there's no, like, crazy costumes. There's no, like, intense Beethoven music. It's pretty much everything just comes really bland.
Right.
And I think that's another reason, like, it kind of shifts your mood too, and that's probably, helps you empathize because it feels fun, even though you're kind of constantly judging him doing all these horrible things. But it's fun. It's like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Cool. And then it kind of gets sad, But even then, I still like, well, you were kind of being a dickhead. But I think that the way they set it up that way, just to kind of give you that contrast, also kind of affects your mood to sympathize with him. It makes it feel like fucked up.
And I think part of why you sympathize with him a little bit is going back to the whole, just because you did something shitty to somebody, it doesn't give them the right to do something shitty back to you. You know what I mean?
I think that movie definitely makes that very clear.
It's just like the prison. Does the prison really have the right to give him an option of experimental mindfuck? You know what I mean? Like, sure, everyone, we all agree, if you're a shitty fucking person, you do horrible things, you should be in prison and you should be isolated.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give the prison the right, or does it,
to essentially take away someone's humanity.
Just for the sake of, I mean, that's the prison doing their job. We want to make sure this guy is not a harm to anybody when he's released back into the general public. But he hates Beethoven now, or at least that particular score.
Yeah.
And that's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And he throws up at chicks' titties. Like, there's nothing
and
wrong with
that
titties.
is the biggest crime.
That is
no
horrible.
man should ever throw up when seeing boobies.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Ever.
So, again, it goes back to the bums, and in the cops, too.
Who's old droogs.
Which they sort of got their thing on him just by hitting him in the head with the milk bottle.
There was no
they got
need.
His revenge.
Exactly.
They're just being assholes.
They're just rubbing it in.
But again,
salt in the wound.
Cops and camera phones.
Yeah. Still relevant to this day.
So when the writer's in the wheelchair, he has this kind of right hand man assistant big fucker dude.
Weird buff dude in the pink shirt.
That is the guy that plays Darth Vader.
No way.
The guy in the suit.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's the guy in the suit. Right? It's crazy.
Oh my god. I feel bad for that guy. On a complete tangent, how upset do you think that guy was? He's like, oh, everybody, and there's this new movie coming out, and I'm gonna be the main villain. It's gonna be awesome. And then he gets to the theater, and everyone's like, that's not you. That's some black guy,
right?
James Earl Jones, which iconic voice.
I know.
of Darth
I wonder
Vader,
what
like,
their relationship is like. Hey, me and you.
I don't think they've ever met. I think they met once.
Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
But that just sucks to be the guy that played Darth Vader, but not really the guy
Same
that played
thing
Darth
with the guy
Vader.
that played Chewbacca, the freakishly tall dude.
Yeah.
You know.
I think he even gets more credit than the dude that played Darth Vader.
I think so, which is mind-boggling because I mean Darth Vader, you know, arguably one of the most iconic villains of all time.
It was almost just
Alex.
Yeah, it was almost just CG, but instead of CG, they just put a person there.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
we're gonna put a dub over you, and no one's gonna remember that you did this.
Right. Exactly.
That just sucks.
It
Sorry, tangent.
No, for sure. It must have been crazy directing Darth Vader in that because you have zero talking. I don't know. Maybe they did. Who knows?
No, he did talk. He did talk, but the thing is, it was very inaudible. And it just sounded really bad. Like, it was like, hey, give me the plans. And they're like, yeah, we need somebody with like a menacing, intimidating voice. We're like, hey, where are the droids? You know, like.
And, you know, we'll probably never, ever cover Star Wars movies on this podcast. And I'll tell you why. There is this podcast, and I will name drop a lot of podcasts. This is one of which I do not listen to, but I heard about it. It's called the Star Wars Minute. Where they
just talk about Star Wars for a minute?
No, 1 minute of basically the first minute of the first movie, they'll talk about that. And then the second podcast, they'll talk about the second minute. All the way through all the movies.
Yeah, there's no competing with that. There won't be no Star Wars on this podcast.
No Star Wars on this podcast at all. If it's Star Wars, it's fucking Star Wars Legos.
Yeah.
We're not going to... Yeah, Star Wars Lego Minute. But no, yeah, go check out that I haven't heard it. I don't know how it is.
I might check it out.
Yeah,
I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
so.
it sounds cool. But that's... fucking again, going back to the difference in details that make you want to be a better filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
If you can actually, I know it's Star Wars, but if you could actually have a podcast about a minute of a movie at a time and have enough to talk about, you're doing
love
something.
That movie.
Well, not just that, but you're doing something right. If there's enough detail there to actually break it down and talk about something that's only a minute.
Yeah. But anyway, you're talking about the writer and his weird manservant.
Dude, the writer scene when he was hearing the Singing in the Rain, the camera being low down to the ground looking up at him. How shining is that? It was so shining to me.
Yeah.
Just his shaking and everything is so Kubrick and so shining to me. Like you know, seeing Danny with the you know, the drooling mouth freaking out, you know. All right, let's do Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
This is a hard one.
Yeah, this is a weird movie for that game.
We're going to do this every single movie, though. Fuck, marry, kill.
All right.
Who would you fuck, who would you marry, and who would you kill? It's hypothetical. Sexes don't matter. I mean, this is mostly dudes in this film anyway.
Right.
I guess you would fuck this chick on the stage?
Dude, I'm so glad you said that. The chick in the beginning of the movie, right?
No, I'm talking about the one on the stage that does her, like, experiment, like when he's testing out the experiment.
Oh, she's pretty hot, too.
Yeah.
But the chick that,
that he rapes?
No, not the chick that he rapes. The chick that that the other, like, Billy Boy, like the chick they were gonna.
Oh,
yeah. I'd say her.
She had some titties.
She was very, very attractive, very lovely young lady.
All the girls in this movie are attractive.
Yeah.
When the chick that was in the rape scene, when they went to film that, she told Alex, the actor, she's like, well, now you're gonna know that I'm really a redhead. She had that fire engine bush, which is rad.
Okay, Mary. I don't know. Maybe I definitely want to marry Alex.
I mean, they're all horrible people. I guess the writer, because he's an artist, which is cool,
right?
And he's got a cool house, so he take care of me. And he's got a big buff Darth Vader.
I'm honestly,
I
would say maybe the lady that gets killed by the wiener, because I mean, she had all these weird, crazy sex stuff, and I'm pretty sure she gets down in the bedroom, so...
I could see that. I think all the girls get down in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But not all by choice.
It's a very sexual movie. A lot of sexual undertones and overtones.
Totally. Yeah.
And then kill Alex. I would kill Alex.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I have to pick for the game, like, I don't believe in the death sentence, but if I'm picking somebody, it's Alex.
This is a hypothetical
The
game.
world will be a better place if a piano fell on him.
All right.
Because that's how he would die. In that instance, piano crash.
Yeah, no, I definitely would marry the writer. Thinking about it, you don't gotta fuck him because you're married to him.
Yeah.
And you know, he's got, like I said, he's got a cool setup. And okay, if he's like, all right, so my first wife, you know, I sort of fucked up. I didn't really protect her. These dudes came in, raped her, tied me up. It looked like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But now
emasculated for sure.
But now I got a fucking bodyguard, and guess what? It's Darth Vader.
It's Darth Vader.
So like, okay, I'll marry this motherfucker because obviously I'll be protected now. He's learned.
Yeah, that dude creeped me out.
Yeah, he looked like the buffest fucking. He looked like the Weezer singer on steroids.
Yeah. Well, that's our fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah. So that's pretty much our first episode.
Yeah.
It's a really heavy film to start off with, but I loved it.
We came out running.
Yeah, for sure. But that was your pick. And the next pick will be my pick, and I'm going to go a little bit, still a thought-provoking film, but not nearly on this level. I'm going to go with Nicholas Winding Refn's, one of my favorite directors, working directors anyway, his 2011 film Drive, which we'll do next on the podcast. You start off the podcast with telling us what you're drinking. That's a bad sign.
Okay, I don't need your judgments. Unless your judgments are about how horrible this podcast is.
Okay. But again, this whole thing is about learning about film. It's all about art. And
just getting a different perspective on the stuff you watch.
Totally. Until next time, later. To get a hold of us online, go to artistbrewpodcast.com or facebook.com/artistbrewpodcast or twitter.com/artistbrewpodcast.